Olympic flag rings behind me.
Hello everybody and welcome to your golden ticket to success, freedom and happiness. And today it is my sincerest pleasure to welcome Sarah Klein with us. Hi Sarah.
Hello, welcome. Hi from Salt Lake City.
Yay! Now Sarah's been teaching yoga for the last 25 years. She has a master's in psychology and counselling and works with both the severely and persistently mentally ill, but also the very well. And she works with people all around the world, and she's going to talk about that in a little while. But she also teaches for Yoga Today, which is an online yoga studio. I think that's the way I can describe it, where you can go and access amazing yoga classes, tutorials, videos from the comfort of your own space. So Sarah, again, it's my pleasure to be hanging out with you today. I'm going to start off by, just so we can give our audience a bit of a picture of who you are, what you do and what you're passionate about. Could you talk about perhaps a series of events or a time in your life where you feel that you've kind of propelled yourself forward from, and that's helped to shape who you are today, both personally and professionally?
Absolutely. Well, Maria, so I really feel that it was a crisis. I mean, I'm really not motivated unless there's a crisis. So it was a crisis that happened in my life that motivated me for change, because I think really that's all you can do. You either roll over and give up, or you move forward and you grow. And so I have to thank my mother. She doesn't really practice yoga, but she's always known throughout my life what would be good for me somehow. So she sent me to this wonderful center in Lenox, Massachusetts called the Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health. And there I embarked on a week-long training on the chakras, and it was my first taste. And I remember I was living in the Bahamas at the time with my son, and I called home and I said, I'm not coming home, I'm staying at the ashram, send my son. And so that was how I started, and from there it's just been an amazing journey and a love affair with the entire science of yoga.
Fascinating. And you mentioned the chakra system there, and I know that what I do know is that when our chakra system is out of balance, then some other areas of our life can be out of balance. And since we're talking about happiness, freedom and success today, could you give us some insights really on how to maybe identify when there is an imbalance and then perhaps what to do from that point?
Absolutely. I think that we intuitively know that if things are starting to go wrong with our body, which is like a community, right? If our heart and our spleen aren't working, and that the brain isn't working, and we're starting to have disease, pain, that it affects the whole. Just like in a community, we are as good as this. We are as weak as the weakest link. So we need the entire system to be strong, and the body, mind, and spirit are all connected. And so we need to address each of these through a practice.
Fantastic. So for somebody perhaps who is at a point in their life where they've decided things need to change, but perhaps they are overcome with some fears. Yeah, some fears. And I know that whenever I've decided to make changes in my life, even if it's something that I really, really want to do, a whole load of my stuff will come right to the surface and very cleverly try and keep me stuck. What tip could you give to somebody who is deciding to make some positive forward-moving changes with regards to what you've just said?
Right. Well, so I find as a therapist and as a yoga teacher that we have to, when we're stuck, we need to first acknowledge it and then be willing to make a change. We can't convince somebody to get unstuck. It's like convincing an addict that the addiction is no longer good for them. They have to come to that choice and make that choice. And then it's really good to, gravitate towards what you resonate with. So if you don't resonate with yoga, if it's Tai Chi, if it's running, if it's mountain climbing, whatever it is, then it's surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded. Having support is huge. And this age that we're moving into, we know more and more we do need support from others. This is a time when it's really not about competition and moving ahead to be the better person. It's about bringing the community with you. So I think number one, knowing you're stuck. Number two, being willing to make a change and ask the people that you resonate with. And then three, moving into that change.
That's awesome, because you mentioned there about finding something physical to help you along your journey, and I'm a big advocate for bringing some element of physical movement into your day, whatever it might be, and it really is so individual and different for everybody. I'm really interested because I know that you have a lot of deep knowledge of the ancient wisdom that you've practiced, and I know that Kundalini Yoga is one of those, and that's what connected the two of us, I believe. Could you just give us what you feel is going to be relevant for our audience today in the way of some insight into that very powerful ancient practice?
Right. Well, it is such an ancient practice, yet it is doable. I think of it as the fast track fitness of our day. And as we know, all yogas are aimed in the same direction, union. I'm a very busy people. I'm balancing the well and the not so well, and then my family, and then my own personal life. So I like something that I can sit down and do for 9 minutes or 5 minutes, at least twice a day. I'm not into practicing for hours and hours. When I can, it's a luxury, and I like to do that. But I'd rather go climb a big mountain and then meditate at the top, or come down and do some movements for the spine. So I would say it's about being super realistic with what your life will allow, what your schedule and time will allow. Now that we're in this age of information, there is so much to take in on a daily basis from all our forms of electronics. So it's really about being discerning, taking in the stuff that you really need, that works for you, and kind of filtering out all the rest. So I would say a practice where you sit down for at least 5-10 minutes, you do some type of breath work, you have a mantra, your reality starts in your mind, you have a goal that you work for just one day at a time. I like the one day at a time thing, because that's really all we have, 1 minute at a time even.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Like, I don't want to reinvent the wheel here for people on yoga. They can read about yoga, they can go online, they can listen to people. It's really about just sitting down. It's 99% practice, 1% blah, 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 as far as I'm concerned.
And you mentioned breath work there, and I know what you're in your surroundings to do. I'm not sure if you're allowed to talk to us about it.
I'm at the Olympic Stadium in Salt Lake City. Yes, and that's to be determined. So more on that later. You'll just have to follow us.
Oh, okay, my lips are sealed, but I'm so excited. So with your work, tell us about perhaps what are the biggest challenges that you see people experiencing in today's age? You talked about us being in the Aquarian Age. And I know that comes with, its highs and its lows. Would you say that there's a running theme, or maybe a couple of themes that you find that you're helping people with on a daily basis?
Yes, I think that because there's so much, I know because there's so much information coming in all the time that we can just get burnt out. There's like low vibrational information out there, like watching the news, watching doom and gloom. Even I tell my students, decipher if gossip is really isn't necessary. It's really not necessary. So it's being a bit selfish about who you hang out with, what you think, what you eat, where you go. Because let's face it, it starts here. It's an inside job. So I think being very discerning, and for that we need to be very centered and sit down and spend some time reflecting. And yes, we've got to be careful in this time, or we can get burned out with everything that's coming in. So
very much building a relationship with your own self and finding what it is for you, perhaps, that is making you happy, or perhaps not making you happy, and then, as you say, being fearless in making that decision and making it a priority that you are feeling what I call your bliss zone, or your miracle zone, or your happy zone every day. And you talked a little bit about your daily practice, that you like to be outdoors, and you like to practice snippets of yoga. Is there anything else that you do on a daily basis that helps you stay centered?
Yes, I have little mantras, and I know that whenever I'm having a knee-jerk reaction to something, whenever I have an unpleasant emotion or sensation in my body, that's the point of entry for me to just take a breath, take a deep breath in, and realign with self. And it's so yoga is really set up for us to succeed in the studio, but this is yoga. You know, yoga is off the mat. It's who you are being as a person when nobody's watching. I think somebody famous said that. So who are you when nobody's watching you? How happy are you? How honest? How kind are you? And I do believe, again, my mother gave me, it's my mom again, she'll love this. She gave me a great book, and it was called It's an Inside Job. So it's about going inside. There's nothing out there that's going to bring it. No amount of it will bring it. You know, no amount of relationships, whatever. It's about going inside and aligning with self and source, and then it all comes. It all comes.
I love that. I love how you mentioned it's, and not perhaps for those who don't practice yoga, it might not be yoga, but bringing it off the mat or off the meditation pillow or out of the church or out of the ashram, that it's in everyday life as we walk step by step by step that we have the opportunity to either come from love or that expansive place, or from fear, and that the opposite to love and expansion. And in fact, I often say that it begins with our nearest and dearest, the people that we hang out with all the time, our children, our spouses, our partners, our parents, our colleagues. You know, have you got one tip or a couple of tips perhaps to enhance those sacred relationships that we have, you know, in our life on a daily basis?
Gratitude. Gratitude. Start your day with gratitude before you even get out of bed. If you have to get up at a certain time and rush, that's sending a message to the universe that you're already late and you're always going to be rushing and you're never going to get it all done anyway. So set your alarm a little earlier. I know it sounds crazy, but wake up and then relax. Like, enjoy how your bed feels. Don't jump out of bed. And I go through a gratitude list. And now I found myself, since I started that, I found myself waking up in the middle of the night and thinking, I'm so grateful it's the middle of the night, I don't have to get up, or I'm so grateful I have this happening tomorrow or that. Because again, our reality begins in our mind with our thoughts. So what we're thinking right now, we're creating. And so we have to be very mindful and careful of what we're thinking. Does that answer your question?
The becoming aware of what your thoughts are in every moment. Are you saying that can really impact as well on, I guess it's about reacting to the other person and choosing, really, isn't it? Would you say that, well, tell us a bit about how you have come through any difficult relationships in your life. You've already talked about gratitude. Was there anything else that you practice, anything else you put into place?
Did you just mention coming through a difficult relationship? Have you been following me?
No, not in that way. Perhaps not even a romantic one.
Relationships are the hardest work we'll ever do. It's easy to sit in a cave and meditate and be all zen-like, and then we start relating with, you know, you have children, right? There are joy and there are challenge. So I forget what the question was, but it was off to a good start.
Yeah, just any insights or any practical tips and tools that you've implemented in, and I don't necessarily mean purely romantic relationships, perhaps in a colleague relationship or with your son. What do you do to maintain that equilibrium, that balance, and infuse love rather than the opposite?
Well, I actually use the 5 sutras of the Kundalini Age, and one of them is the important one here, and that's that the other person is you. In the Piscean Age, I know, right? In the Piscean Age, it was do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That sounds so heavy, and now it's the other person is you. So step up and notice that. So when it comes to that, I have to really take a step back and step up and say, wow, yeah, that's been me. I've done that. I've been that.
Things, doesn't it? Do you find, I mean, for me, it still does. But it's so powerful once you start implementing that.
Yes, it's easy to talk about. That's that 1%. It's the 99% practice, Maria. That's the hard, that's the challenging bit. But that's our practice. What else do we have to do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to know if you were to choose one passionate message today, and I know you have many, we could probably fill 7 hours worth of interview, but if you were to have the opportunity to share one passionate message with our audience, knowing what you know through your work, through personal life experience, what would that be?
That would be, can it be a couple parts? Couple
Absolutely,
things?
yeah, as many as you want.
That would be, if you're not happy, then it's time to get happy and to figure out who can help you and what are you willing to do. What lengths are you willing to go to? Who do you need for support? Find that person. It's about just, like, get on your on-ramp to happiness. You might be seeing your happiness as something out there in the future when something's attained, but it's not. It's right here, right now. So you've got to feel it to see it. And I think a lot of times we're told, well, once, I make the money, or once I have the relationship, or once I have the job, then I'll be happy, then I'll relax, then I'll meditate. No, 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 no. No, no. It's about doing it right now. It's starting right where you are right now. And so I did want to talk about the gift I was going to offer everyone.
Absolutely, go for it.
Right? So what I would like everyone to do to gather this gift is to go to yogatoday.com, and there'll be a little video there, download, and I'll talk you through a 3-part meditation. And it'll be about creating, manifesting your future, but starting right where you are right now. And it's about 9 minutes, 9-10 minutes. And I would say do this 9 or 10-minute meditation for 21 days. And see, just be surprised. Have like an air of expectancy,
Oh, that's such a valuable and exciting gift. I'm going to go and download it too. Before we wrap up, I'm going to just ask you, because I know that a lot of our audience might be sitting there thinking, well, it's okay for you, Maria, it's okay for you, Sarah, you're not going through my life, you're not experiencing what I'm experiencing. Has there ever been a time in your life where you wanted to give up, perhaps, and where you've perhaps been in that place that, well, it's okay for you, so-and-so, it's okay for you? And if so, what was the one or two what were the things that you did? How did you get out? How did you make peace?
I wish I could remember all those little gems and pearls. I just know that I don't like to feel uncomfortable. I don't, I think I get tired of, like, the pity party. So I'm sure that motivated me. I know that staying moving, like we were talking about earlier before this recording, keeping moving for me. Movement is energy and change. For me, just getting outside, moving, swimming, anything, just getting out of where I am, not just physically. It helps me emotionally, mentally, on all levels. So movement, getting on the on-ramp.
Moving the body on a physical level can shift things mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. Yeah, I think that's spot on. Well, Sarah, it's been an absolute joy. As we said, I could probably pick your brains and ask you to share for many, many more hours. But we're going to say goodbye for today, and I'm wishing you a bliss-filled day. Is there anything final that you'd like to share with our audience before we go?
No, just all the best, and just the fact that you're listening to this show and listening to Maria and following Maria, you're on your way, and just keep it up. And also remember that when you know something and it works for you, then it's your responsibility to share it, not preach it, but share it or teach it, offer it as an offering.
Oh, that's so valuable. Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm wishing you all a bliss-filled rest of your day.